Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Thunderstep.
Step. Like a dinosaur. This is Xanathar's Guide to Everything's version of Dimension Door, kind of. So it's an action 90-foot range, rebel components. It's a sorcerer, warlock, wizard spell, instantaneous duration. You teleport yourself to an unoccupied space you can see within range. Immediately after you disappear, a thunderous boom sounds, and each creature within 10 feet of where you left makes con save, taking 3d10 on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. The thunder can be heard from 300 feet away. You can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry. You can also teleport one willing creature of your size or smaller who's carrying gear up to its capacity. The creature must be within 5 feet of you whenever casting the spell, and there must be an unoccupied space within 5 feet of your destination for the creature to appear in, otherwise it's left behind. So, like, if you want to go to a specific spot and there's only room for one of you, you cannot bring anyone else.
Right.
When you cast the spell, using slot of 4th level or higher gets a d10 per upcast. As usual, don't do that. This is, I think it's very neat. I don't know how good it is, but it's neat. I like it a lot for it being like a budget-ish Dimension Door, but it doesn't do exactly what Dimension Door does, and like its utility-wise is a lot worse. And then damage-wise, it's just kind of like, it's fine enough damage. I could see there being like 3 or 4 specific options that would probably really love this. And beyond that, it's just kind of like a mediocre, fine 3rd level spell.
I like it. I feel like it's kind of a spite spell. If one of your friends is really in trouble, they got like 3 guys pounding on with swords and hammers and stuff. You run in there, grab them by the shoulder, thunder step out of there, and hurt all the people that it was beating on them.
Yeah. It also, you get the nice little upside of it brings a bunch of stuff apparently, and I was under the impression that all teleport spells carried what you could carry, but like, this one also you can, everyone can load up on a bunch of stuff and bring it with you too. So you grab the MacGuffin and you're both out of there.
I feel like even if they don't explicitly say it, you're not teleporting naked and your clothes drop to a pile.
Which is why, like, this spell does explicitly state
Yeah.
you can bring the objects and stuff, and I was like, could you not? Like, wait, are we using other teleport spells wrong? Which I thought it was a little bit weird.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think they say the same thing in Dimension Door. It's like if you can bring a person with you for whatever reason, they have to explicitly state you're bringing other stuff, information as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, I
So,
don't know.
with bringing up Dimension Door, this does compare directly to it. The big difference is Dimension Door is a higher level slot. It's got like 5 times the range of 500 feet compared to this is 90. It also, so Thunderstep specifies you have to see where you're going. Dimension Door doesn't. So there's gonna be like, there'll be some sheets where this is as good or better than Dimension Door in a lot of cases, where you're just like, I don't really care to go inside secret places that I'm not trying to teleport into the vault. I'm not trying to teleport into the castle or break into the, any of the spooky places. And Thunderstep will do everything you'd want Dimension Door to do in combat. And that's pretty great. Plus 3d10 damage, like it's all upside there. That being said, if I want to spell that teleports me and a friend, I want the flexibility. I want it to be able to go anywhere. I want to be able to point directly at the ground and be like, maybe there's a cavern below us, snap our fingers and hope we don't get shunted and die. Like, I want the options I think Dimension Door offers more often than this, which is why I'm not so high on it. That being
That's
said,
what you get for the higher level slot. You get what you pay for, Sam.
yeah. Do you want both of my, I guess the question is, do I want both on my character sheet? Right? Like, do I feel a need to have both Thunderstep and Dimension Door on my sheet if they do such different things? Or they do somewhat of the same thing, I mean, but their use cases are, one is a higher level, but is better, like, does more things teleport-wise, where Thunderstep is just, like, a damage, then a leave. And I don't know what the answer to that question is. I guess if you're, like, Storm Sorcerer, this is probably a shoe-in. If you're a melee Warlock or Wizard, I could see this being fine. Its upcast is useful because Warlocks pack magic, but, like, I don't know. I don't foresee myself quickly putting this on a lot of sheets. Maybe I'm misjudging it, though. I don't know.
If I had to choose between this and Dimension Door, I think I'd choose this almost every time.
I think I would choose Dimension Door almost every time.
I know you would.
I like to mess around with Dimension Door. There's a lot of fun things to do with it. There's less fun things to do with this.
I mean, teleporting and damaging is fun for me.
Sure.
And all right, so you get 500 feet with Dimension Door.
Mm.
That's a pretty good distance away
It's like two
if you're
blocks.
right, if you're in a fight, but it's still not out of the woods, you know?
I don't agree. I think most of the times it is out of the woods. I think 500 feet is going to put you so far away if that's what you want that you will be off the battle map if that's what is needed, right? Like,
Sure, but I mean, you're still like, depending on the terrain, you're still kind of visible. Like if they want to get you 500 feet, that's they can move there eventually. Like it's not like miles away where they don't have any idea where you are.
if we're in like the void flat space of number crunching, min maxing, just flat surface, nothing around. But I think most D&D environments, there's woods, there's mountains, there's caves,
Yeah.
there's buildings, there's things in between you and where you're going, right? And another big upside of Dimension Door over this is I can be like, I'm pretty sure there's open road behind that building, and then you and your whoever you're with are just gone, and they don't see where you teleported to, right? Like you don't have to see it. You having to see it with Thunderstep does like it makes your use cases of why this isn't that great, why Dimension Door wouldn't be that great if things being able to follow you. They're way more likely to be able to follow you from a Thunderstep, so it's
Oh,
not as great a
absolutely.
disengage.
I'm just saying it's not guaranteed. And
That's for
with
sure. It
with
isn't guaranteed.
Dimension Door, like not being able to see where you're going, that's I don't know, inviting potential damage.
Absolutely. And I love that.
Okay. Hmm.
For something to go horribly, horribly wrong there. As is, like, spending a third level slot for 3d10 to things around you. It's a 10-foot radius around you, too. That's not bad. I'm pretty okay with that, given that it also comes with the move. Taking an action is a little bit spendy, but whenever you really, really need it, it can be pretty useful. It's not something that I'm going to be... I can't envision myself ever running in, thunderstepping out deliberately, right? Like, I'm not using this as a... I'm going to go into a group of creatures to do damage to them with Thunderstep, because, Fireball's the same level as this. A whole bunch of area effect damage spells will do more damage than this in a better area. So, like, you definitely care about both parts of this, which makes it a little bit awkward to me. Like, if you're playing a wizard with this, you're like, well, I have a fireball at my disposal to deal much damage to that, so I'm only ever using this in the instance where things are on top of me or a friend, and I want to damage them in an area and escape in a mediocre way, because like Misty Step's cheaper than this if you just want a cheap way to get out. So like, I don't
But you
know.
can't bring a friend with Misty Step.
That's true. That is the big downside. This is like right in between Dimension Door and Misty Step as far as like the teleportation usability of it goes. It not being a bonus action is kind of a big bummer, but it is, comes with 3d10 damage instead. I don't know. I'm glad this exists. I'm glad that it is doing something different than Misty Step and Dimension Door, right? Like we can have a little bit more nuanced and interesting conversation because it's not just a 90-foot with one person teleport, right? The damage is relevant here, and it does something that neither of those spells do, which is good. I just, I don't know if it does enough extra that I'm taking this that readily, but I can understand why people would instead, and that's reasonable. I don't think this spell is at all remotely bad. It's fine.
I think you could develop a strategy to where, like, aside from airlifting your friend out of danger, to where you could just charge up, thunderstep out, hurt a few baddies, and then position yourself in a more ideal location, maybe up high on a ledge or something.
So like you're saying beyond the use case of running in and fishing out the rogue or the monk that's overextended themselves, you're saying you can conceive of environments where you go, okay, I'm going to move to this spot, do the 3d10, and then have the best spot on the map.
Right.
And that's like kind of worth it. Maybe.
Well, it could be because
It
I
could
mean,
be.
if you can do the same thing with Misty Step, but this time do some damage too. I got
Sure.
this opportunity.
Especially like this definitely would be better in the tiers where like you want to be using your action to cast spells anyway, and so Misty Step's got a much higher cost, whereas like at third level or fifth level you're pretty okay firing off a cantrip or making some attack rolls in addition to Misty Stepping, which makes it the bonus action a lot better. If you're in a situation where you're like, well, I could do a 2d10 cantrip, or I could do 3d10 in an area and get a teleport, I'm not going to use the resource anyway. Thunderstep definitely has a big upside there.
All right, one more point I wanted to make. You said never upcast this.
Never upcast this.
Again, I can conceive of times when you might. And it's not for the additional damage. It's because you want to hold on to some third level spells because a lot of third level spells do really cool things.
But you could always cast any 3rd level spell with a 4th level spell slot, agnostic of upcast. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that point might not do so hot.
Yeah, I was like, you can sure, like 4th level spell slots are just every spell slot in the game is all of the spell slots lower than it and itself. They can cast any spell that are of that level or lower that you've got prepared or readied or whatever. So like if you got a 6th level slot, you can cast a 3rd level spell with it, even if it doesn't have any upcast components. And then at higher levels, just simply denotes if you do that, it gets extra benefits. So like, you know.
I was unaware of that.
And now you learned. And hopefully some other people at home learned too.
Yeah, this is educational.
This is educational content at its finest. It's just 2 idiots on the internet going to town about random opinions about D&D spells like Thunderstep, which are pretty fine.
All right, well, you got a rating for this one?
I think it's comfortably a 3. I can see... I don't know if this is for me. I like Misty Step and Dimension Door a lot. And for that reason, I'm not probably putting this on my sheet over either of those, but I can see people who would want to do this instead. And it's definitely a side grade to at least Misty Step. I still think I like the efficiency and the effectiveness of the other two better because I care more about the teleport than I care about the damage. If you are in a heavy combat campaign, if you are in a situation where you want to both get the tactical advantage of Thunderstep that also can double as a decent teleportation option that doesn't necessarily need... It loses a lot of the discretion because of the giant boom it makes, but like you can still use it to get into places and stuff. This will absolutely give you all of that you're looking for from it. And while like I'm not going to be racing to take it, I get why some people might.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. I think, I brought up the potential for strategies to be built around this. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm betting they're out there. And
sure.
That potential is worth another star for me.
I do always like to consider, sure, there could be strategies that employ it. Are those strategies effective? Is what I'm more interested in, you know? Like, oh yeah, you can make a whole build where you just sprint into a group of people and explode, and you dedicate 6 resources to it, and you're really good at it, but at the end of the day, you're still like capped at 3 damage around.
All right, well, that was Thunderstep. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. What do you think about Thunderstep?
What do you think about Bob's new green screen?
Yeah, that too. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? All right. Yeah, like and subscribe and all that, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.